Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make donuts, and while I do that, I'm going to give some pointers and tips that'll help those of you out there who are struggling to make donuts and want to master it. This will be for you, so hopefully this helps out quite a bit. So let's begin. So here are all of the ingredients that you will be needing today. You will be needing, for your dry ingredients here, you'll be needing 3 cups and a quart of flour. You'll need a quart of sugar. You'll need a half a teaspoon of salt. And for the yeast, you will need a teaspoon of sugar, 1 packet of yeast, and fill any pot that you have up with water about like halfway, and you'll see what I'm going to be doing with that. So yes, do have something like this, and have a quart of oil. I use a shot glass, and it's close to a quart. So yeah, I did the same thing with the sugar. I used a shot glass for that too. So here's what you do. I begin by heating up the water on the stove on high heat, and I let the water heat up, and I let it get to a temperature that is just comfortable for my hand to touch, just warm enough. While the water is heating up, I like to use the surface to create the dough, so I'm going to pour out the flour here. I'm going to pour it out. I'm going to pour out the sugar. And I'm going to pour out the salt. And that's it for right here. And I'm going to use my scraper to bring it in together. Bring it into do this motion right here. Do anything I can to get the 3 dry ingredients well incorporated. And a lot of times what I do is I take my hand like that and do that motion to mix it. Yeah. And I'll create like a well here. Create like a well. There we go. And now I'm going to check on the water, see if it's warm enough right now. I believe that is about right. And here I am to my first pointer right here. Dissolving your yeast. Here's exactly how I do it. You'll need a rubber spatula. You're going to pour in a quart of warm water, and you're going to get a teaspoon of sugar, and you're going to use a liquid measuring cup, and of course your packet of yeast. And one thing that went wrong, I had used yeast that I unknowingly had. I didn't know that it was expired, so my dough ended up never rising. So it may be obvious, but check your expiration date, it'll help. Getting about a quart in there. You don't need a whole lot of water for this. You're going to need your sugar, and you're going to pour in your yeast. Take your rubber spatula, and you're going to stir it around. Stir it around, make sure you scrape off all that excess yeast. Make sure it all dissolves. Get it all. Really make sure that you dissolve it all. And you'll see what happens after 10 minutes. See, after a while it got really, really huge. So that's exactly how I dissolve my yeast. And we're gonna come over here and we're gonna put that right down in the center. Going to pour that right down the center. Very easy, just pour only a tiny bit, only that much. Now we're going to bring it over here. We're going to create our dough. There's two different types of dough. There's dry dough and there's wet dough. I like using wet dough because it's more flexible. All right. And how much water you add is all going, can change. It's all by how you feel. It's all by, it can change. So you're going to add as much as needed. I'm going to add some more. Tiny bit at a time, gradually add it. And we are just about there. And now it is time to knead. Alright, grab it. It's sticky dough, so if you've ever worked with sticky dough, you basically know how to handle it, so be careful. And of course, take your scraper, get all the excess dough, so that way it doesn't dry out. So the next thing I do, the dough has been rising for 1 hour. And here is what's going to bring me to my next pointer. So a common thing with donuts is I see people roll out the dough way too thin, so therefore they end up with thin donuts. You don't want a thin donut, you want a pretty puffy, not really puffy, but beefy donut. So you really want, it is important that you roll it out a 1/2 inch thick. So here we go. Not too much. Now, when you punch it out like that, tiny bit, that is about thickness that you want it to be. Don't roll it out too much. Right about there. And here's the next thing. So the next thing is, your tools you're using to cut out your shapes must have good lubrication. So here's what I'm gonna recommend. The reason why you're gonna dip it in there, gonna get the flour all around, whatever way you can. The reason why is you're going to be, if you don't have good lubrication, you're gonna be mashing it and mashing it. And the more you keep mashing it, it's going to keep shrinking and shrinking. And it's also going to be difficult for you to, to get a circle. It's going to be more difficult to do that. So you're just going to, as best you can, push down, wiggle a little bit, and take it off. And it comes off really easy. So then you'll take your next tool, your middle shape, dip it in the flour, and push, and out it goes. And you just take the center out. Whoops. Do it again. Turn it a few more times. There we go. Now take it out. Voila. So when you push, it kind of comes off better if you do like a shaking motion, tiny shaking motion, rather than if you do a turning motion. And you will get that. And it's okay if it's not exact or exactly perfect, because you don't want a donut too perfect anyway, because you don't, if it's too perfect of a shape, it'll kind of look fake. So yeah, get the flour in there, get it in the center, and then watch. See how it comes up like that, how it puffs? And you could do a small shaking motion like that, and voila, there you go. Yes, all of the donuts and donut holes are munchies, munchies? Or I forget what the other name for them is, but they will be proofing in this draft-free zone right here. You'll see why they are on plates in 45 minutes. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. Now I am going to heat this wok up. I use a wok for this. I'm going to heat it up to 350 as best I can while those are proofing. And now a lot of people may worry about wasting oil for deep frying stuff. Well, to deep fry, all you need for these donuts is an inch, just an inch deep, and that's it. They will float, they will do what they're supposed to do, and that's really all you need. So these donuts have been rising for 45 minutes, and here's your setup. You got your donuts here on the plates. I got my wok going. I got the 2 sticks I'll use to flip them with, and I got my trash can here ready for discarding the plates. So here we go. I'll show you exactly what I do. And what I normally do is take a piece of scrap dough, leftover dough, and I put it in, see how it does. You can hear the sizzling. So far so good. And it is puffing up pretty nicely. Color's looking good. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. Looking, and it's puffing up. That's what we want. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a donut. Yes, we're gonna submerge it inside. Submerge the plate. Because this is what brings me to my 4th pointer. You never want to touch, if you can see that, don't touch the donuts after they proof, you know? So you don't, because if you try to pick them up with a spatula or something like that, they'll deflate. So we're going to take this and we're going to submerge it in very gently. Going to push, and it's going to float to the top, and we're going to, that's why we have the trash can there, we're going to discard the plate immediately. And once it starts to get dark around the middle, and you see it begin to get dark, that's when it's ready. So you can flip it over. Very good, very nice. There we go. It's getting that ring there. That means it's been rising properly and stuff. So that's what we want.
You can probably see it on the edge starting to get darker. That's what you want. And do you see how it's kind of light and puffing up and rising at the top, getting the air inside? That's perfect.
This is my ending result. And I hope every pointer, every tip that I have given today helped, and hopefully you'll give it a try yourself and have fun, and thanks for watching.